All right, buckle up everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of UFOs.
Sounds exciting?
Oh, it is. We'll be looking at some pretty captivating sightings and reports, all pulled from the depths of YouTube, specifically a channel called Secure Team.
Secure Team, huh? I've heard of them. They've got quite a reputation for, well, going down the rabbit hole.
They do, and today's rabbit hole is a video from January 21st, 2017, titled Iranian Military Opens Fire on UFO, 121:17.
Okay, right off the bat, we're talking military encounters. That always gets people's attention.
It does, and for good reason. This video jumps right into some footage that supposedly shows the Iranian military having a run-in with a UFO.
Supposedly, right. Because with these kinds of things, there's always that layer of, trying to figure out what's really going on.
Absolutely. But the
Sure.
footage, even though it's a little grainy, shows this white orb-like object zipping around in a way that doesn't look, well, natural.
And then, boom, anti-aircraft fire.
You got it.
Mm.
But here's the thing. It doesn't seem to hit the object.
So right away, you've got questions like, what kind of object could withstand that sort of firepower? And why is the military engaging in the first place?
Exactly. The source, Secure Team, points out that this thing was flying pretty low, which they say makes it unlikely to be like your typical high-altitude drone.
That makes sense. Altitude is a big clue when trying to understand these sightings. High altitude usually points to something more conventional, like a satellite or a weather balloon.
But a low-flying orb that can dodge anti-aircraft fire. That's where things get interesting.
Definitely. And to make things even weirder, they show a still photo in the video, and it's got two objects this time. One's the white orb, but the other one is darker, more reflective.
Like they wanted to add another layer of mystery to the whole thing.
Right. It makes you wonder if they're connected somehow or if we're dealing with two completely separate phenomena.
A UFO double feature.
Mm.
So we've got this possible military encounter in Iran, but before we can even process that, the video shifts gears and takes us to Colorado, where someone caught footage of a large triangular formation of lights in the sky.
Triangles, huh? That's a classic UFO shape.
Right.
What's the context here?
Well, the person filming describes these smaller lights that seem to be escorting the triangular formation, almost like they're flying in formation with it.
Interesting. So we've gone from potential evasion of military fire to something that looks more like, I don't know, a coordinated flight.
The witness even mentions the possibility of them being aircraft, maybe helicopters, but they sound totally confused about the whole thing.
Which, is understandable. Seeing something like that would definitely make you question what you're looking at.
And it immediately made me think of the Phoenix lights back in '97. Those were huge triangular formations too.
Ah, the Phoenix Lights, a classic case that still sparks debate to this day.
Okay, so we've got Iran, we've got Colorado, but the Secure Team video isn't done with this yet. It throws in one last curveball, a discovery near the North Pole.
The North Pole. Now that's intriguing. What did they find up there?
This is where it gets really wild. They claim there's a circular structure submerged under the water near the North Pole.
Underwater? That's a new one. Do we have any idea what it looks like?
They show some visuals, and it looks like a perfect disc about 40 meters in diameter with this metallic sheen to it.
Okay, now that's starting to sound like something straight out of science fiction. A giant metal disc hidden under the Arctic ice.
And here's the kicker. It's located in this heart-shaped area of melted ice.
A heart-shaped patch of open water in the middle of the Arctic. Come
I know.
on, that's a little too perfect, isn't it?
It almost feels like someone's trying to send us a message.
Maybe they are. But before we go full conspiracy theorists, let's take a step back and try to break down these three incidents. We've got a potential military encounter, a strange triangular formation, and now a mysterious underwater structure.
It's a lot to process, and it really highlights just how diverse UFO phenomena can be.
Exactly. And it reminds us how much we still don't know about what's really out there.
Well said. So let's start with that footage from Iran. It raises some big questions about how we identify objects in the sky, especially when the visuals are limited.
Right. We're relying on grainy footage, eyewitness accounts, and trying to make sense of something that could be anything.
And then there's that Colorado sighting with the triangular formation. The fact that the witness thought they might be seeing aircraft or helicopters adds another layer of complexity.
It does. Because if those were conventional aircraft flying alongside those lights, well, that opens up a whole new set of questions.
Like, are they observing, interacting? What's going on there?
It's fascinating to think about. And then, of course, there's that mind-boggling North Pole discovery with that submerged circular structure.
That one's a real head-scratcher.
Yeah.
Is it a natural formation? Some kind of secret underwater base? Who knows?
The possibilities are endless, which I guess is what keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. The mystery, The intrigue, the chance that there might be something truly extraordinary out there. That's what drives our curiosity and fuels our desire to explore the unknown.
Well said. And that's what makes these deep dives so much fun. We get to journey into the realm of possibilities together, examining the evidence, weighing the theories, and expanding our understanding of the universe we inhabit.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mhm.
All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back to continue our deep dive into these fascinating UFO cases. Stay with us.
And we're back, ready to delve a bit deeper into those UFO cases. We've got a lot to unpack.
We do. And as we do, it's important to remember that we're dealing with, well, human experiences, right? People see things, they interpret things, and they try to make sense of it all.
Absolutely. Eyewitness accounts are a crucial part of UFO research, but they're also inherently subjective.
Yeah, it's like our brains are always looking for patterns, trying to connect the dots. Even if those dots aren't really there.
Right. It's how we make sense of the world. But it also means that our perceptions can be influenced by all sorts of things. Emotions, expectations, even just the way our brains are wired.
So how do we approach these eyewitness accounts? How do we find that balance between skepticism and, keeping an open mind?
It's a tricky balance. On the one hand, we need to be critical. We need to question assumptions, consider alternative explanations, and make sure we're not just jumping to conclusions.
Right, but at the same time, we don't want to just dismiss everything out of hand just because it sounds weird or unbelievable.
Exactly. There's a space between blind acceptance and outright rejection, and that's where the real investigation happens.
It's about being curious but also being careful.
Exactly. And even if we don't find definitive answers in every case, the process of investigating, of exploring these mysteries, that's valuable in itself. It can lead to new insights, new questions, and a deeper understanding of the world around us.
Earlier, you mentioned the Phoenix Lights, and it got me thinking, are there any other documented cases of, like, military aircraft encountering UFOs?
Oh, definitely. There have been numerous reports throughout history, although a lot of them lack, solid evidence. One case that always comes to mind, though, involves some U.S. Navy pilots off the coast of California back in 2004.
Okay, I'm listening. What happened?
These pilots, highly trained professionals, mind you, reported seeing a tic-tac-shaped object.
Wait, tic-tac shaped, like the candy.
That's how they described it. And this thing was apparently zipping around the sky, performing maneuvers that completely defied our understanding of aerodynamics.
Okay, now that's intriguing. And these were experienced pilots, not some folks out for a Sunday joyride.
Exactly. And their accounts were taken seriously by the Navy. The footage was even eventually released to the public.
Wow. So even those trained to observe and analyze the skies can encounter things that they just can't explain.
It just goes to show that there's still so much we don't know.
So, stepping back a bit, what are some of the most common explanations for UFO sightings? I mean, I'm sure not everything is a genuine alien spacecraft, right?
You're right, most UFO sightings can actually be attributed to pretty mundane things. Misidentified aircraft, weather phenomena, hoaxes, that sort of thing.
Makes sense. But there's always that small percentage of cases that just don't fit into those neat categories.
Right, exactly. And those are the cases that really keep us guessing. And that's where that balance between skepticism and open-mindedness becomes so important.
Because if we just dismiss everything, we might miss out on something truly groundbreaking.
And if we accept everything without question, well, then we're not really thinking critically, are we?
So let's talk about that mysterious structure near the North Pole. From a scientific perspective, are there any plausible explanations for something like that?
Honestly, without more data, it's hard to say for sure. It could be a natural geological formation, maybe some unusual rock formation, or an underwater cave system.
But that perfect circular shape, that metallic sheen, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It does, and while I'm always hesitant to jump to conclusions, it's certainly an anomaly that deserves further investigation.
It makes you wonder what else might be hidden beneath those polar ice caps.
Exactly. What secrets are waiting to be uncovered? What mysteries are yet to be solved?
The possibilities are endless. And I think that leads perfectly into the final piece of this UFO puzzle. How we approach this whole topic. How do we find that sweet spot between skepticism and open-mindedness?
It's crucial, especially in today's world where information, misinformation, it all spreads so quickly. We need to be discerning consumers of information. We need to develop our critical thinking skills. We need to be able to evaluate sources and weigh evidence.
But we also don't want to become so cynical that we close ourselves off to new ideas and possibilities.
Right. It's about finding that balance. Being curious, but also cautious, skeptical, but also open to the wonder of the unknown.
It's like walking a tightrope, isn't it?
In a way it is, but it's a tightrope worth walking because who knows what we might discover on the other side.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into UFOs, haven't we?
We have, from potential military encounters to strange lights in the sky to that mysterious structure at the North Pole, it seems like the world of UFOs is full of endless possibilities.
It really does make you wonder what else might be out there.
Mm.
And as we wrap up our exploration, I think it's important to emphasize that balance we talked about,
Yep.
that balance between skepticism and open-mindedness.
Absolutely. It's that sweet spot that allows us to be both critical thinkers and curious explorers.
Right. It's about not dismissing things out of hand, but also not blindly accepting everything we hear.
Exactly. It's about asking questions, seeking evidence, and approaching these topics with a healthy dose of curiosity and a critical eye.
And for those listening who are intrigued by what we've discussed today and want to delve deeper, remember that there's a vast amount of information out there.
Oh, there is. From research organizations and witness testimony databases to countless hours of footage and documentaries, it's a rabbit hole that can keep you busy for a long time.
But as you explore that rabbit hole, always remember to be discerning.
Good point. Consider the source. Look for corroborating evidence. And don't be afraid to question what you're seeing and hearing.
It's about being an active participant in the search for knowledge, not just a passive consumer of information.
Exactly. And that's how we can all contribute to a better understanding of these fascinating and often perplexing phenomena.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the world of UFOs, let's leave our listeners with this final thought. The pursuit of knowledge about UFOs and the unknown is a journey that requires a balance of skepticism and open-mindedness.
Well said. It's a journey that challenges us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to be open to new possibilities.
It's a journey that reminds us that there's still so much we don't know about our universe and the wonders it may hold.
And who knows, maybe someday, through careful investigation and a willingness to embrace the unknown, we'll finally unravel the mysteries that have captivated humanity for centuries.
And on that note, we want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the world of UFOs. Keep looking up, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring the mysteries of our universe.